welcome to Finextra. I'm Emily Horler and I'm here with Chris Hadorn and Troy Hagey of KPMG. And we're at Cybos 2016 in Geneva. Thank you both for joining me.
Thank you.
What have the hot topics been from Cybos from your perspective this year?
Been to this event several years over the last 6 or so, and some similar topics this year as to the previous years, but the capabilities of the topics have matured along the way. So I would say at the top of the house, once again, faster payments has been a hot topic. We're seeing further advancement with the Australian initiative. The UK, of course, went live back in 2008, and then there's been a lot of chatter around ongoings in Hong Kong as well as the EBA. Faster payments is adding more fuel to digital banking, and then that is further fueling the topic of digital labor and robotics. A couple of other areas kind of closely related to that are the standards around ISO 20022 and further adoption and advancement of that. And then, of course, you can't ignore cybersecurity and fraud, which are also very hot topics at the conference this year.
So Troy, how do these topics resonate in the US market as priorities for banks and fintechs?
Picking up off of Chris, they're all important, and I think that's apparent with it being a common theme from previous years, and as Chris mentioned, more mature. We're finding our clients are interested in all of these, and all of them are at different spots within their organization, whether it's on the consumer side, commercial side, where they are within their technology stack, have they already modernized their systems, that all fit into how these pieces fit together. They're moving full speed ahead and developing strategies around them. They're also looking at how does this compete with all of the risk and regulatory requirements that keep coming down, hitting them such as KYC, security, fraud, et cetera. So cyber is a big topic and is a big competing as it relates to investment dollars for our clients.
The focus has been on the strategy for our US clients and really trying to come to events like this and get a flavor of what's worked in some of the other countries and understand how what we're trying to do in the US, whether it's ISO or whether it's faster payments, what can we learn from the other jurisdictions that can help move us better, smarter, faster as we move to execute in the US marketplace.
So given the US focus on real-time payment development, what do you see as the challenges for the industry and banks specifically?
So the US is an interesting place. We generally hear that it's very different from the implementations in the other countries, and there are several of those. Not to mention, we've got 13,000 or so financial institutions that are getting pulled together or that are required to pull together to create ubiquity. A much bigger challenge in a country the size of the US with that number of stakeholders compared to some of the other jurisdictions. But there are a number of other challenges. I would suggest that one of them is, given the US markets, there are several choices. So for example, there's a couple of real-time payment platforms that are going live this year, next year. This has created a little bit of confusion across the industry from our perspective in terms of which platform is the best for me. Some of the platforms are leveraging the ISO 20022 standard that we were talking about earlier, others are not. So some of the platforms, in our opinion, have better design features than the others, and we've been working with our clients to help them evaluate those options so that as they make their selections of what the roadmap is forward for their customers, for their technology build, that they are doing it in a thoughtful way to minimize their investments and optimize the customer experience.
Yeah, and to add on to that, it's really around the business case, and depending, like I said earlier, on where the bank is within their transformation within their own enterprise, the different levels of investments that are required, and what is the business case. As we've learned from other jurisdictions and bringing in our global colleagues, there is no silver bullet that makes this a slam dunk ROI business case, and we're trying to help our clients think through that. What do they do, whether they're on the consumer side, the commercial side, and then you have the mix on a business to consumer, consumer to business payment. So how do the banks solve for that? And then how do they solve for it when there's multiple providers out there where that will increase their technology spend? And how do they handle that in a tough investment environment?
Yeah, I think that we believe over time, even though the U.S., as it's rolling out these new real-time platforms with different flavors, I think that we feel pretty strongly that over time they will rationalize, in other words, consolidate or become fewer, possibly as few as 2 platforms, which is consistent with some of our other rails, whether it's ACH, wire, et cetera. So we kind of see that trend. And we really have been spending a lot of time with our clients as it relates to our global experience in the UK, in Singapore, in Australia. We've developed a conceptual design of what the infrastructure looks like, and we've worked with our clients to help them understand what the cost would be to build up the capabilities. And we're working with them and their corporates to understand across various segments within the corporate community and the consumer as well, as to where the biggest value proposition is that can be unleashed as a result of the new payment capabilities. And that's certainly another challenge that our clients are up against, because they have to think about payments in a very different way, given that a couple of the really strong advantages in our mind that real-time payments brings to the table is the ability to have a request for pay, as well as the non-revocability of the payment along with the richer data that goes along with it. Creates a lot of opportunities for our clients to innovate in a new way.
Yeah, and that's what our clients are looking for. The technology piece, I think we help them with that, help them think through their technology strategies. What's the best way to implement something that is scalable, reusable, and not throwaway, especially with the multiple providers out there. And what are the business cases? What are the use cases that we can bring to light across those platforms and make it seamless for the customer? So those are things that are top of mind with all of our clients as we're trying to help them think forward. I think the other component that comes in is around the mandate. So there is no mandate in the US to do it. There's urging, you have providers out there building capabilities. You have the Federal Reserve with their task force pushing together what a ubiquitous solution could look like for the US. And so there's no specific mandate that's saying all the banks, you have to go do this. However, I think they're realizing they need to go do it. The drivers are there, the writing's on the wall with the global movement outside of the US, and especially as we start thinking about cross-border, it's just transforming the way that payments happen. And it's not only just about the payment anymore, it's about the business transaction and the data that comes with it. So we're helping clients think through those problems and how they can strategically make the right decisions as they move forward.
Troy, Chris, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching.